Hello again, folks. How you doing? Today well, in this lecture, it's still the same day as the first lecture. In this lecture, we're going to talk about strict liability. Now, strict liability is liability without fault. Remember how in negligence we talked about all of those elements about the cause of the negligence? But today we're going to talk about strict liability. That is, liability for damages caused by someone, to their person or their property without your fault. All right? Now, the essence of strict liability is if it happens and you caused it, you're liable. You don't have to go through all of those other elements. The case came from an old, actually not the case, the concept came from an old English case called Rylance v. Fletcher, where Fletcher sued Rylance for causing a amount of water to come out of a reservoir on Rylance land and go into a coal mine and destroy the coal mine that Fletcher owned. Now, these kinds of strict liability are caused by either ultra-hazardous activities or abnormally dangerous activities. Like, for example, storing a whole bunch of water on your property may in fact be caused that's ultra-hazardous because of the possibility of damage to adjoining property owners. What are some ultra-hazardous or abnormally dangerous activities that you find in the cases on strict liability? Well, first we have the old standby fireworks, and something close to that is blasting. Okay, we also have things like wild animals. I guess that should be an N, shouldn't it? Wild animals. If you are housing a wild animal, you have an abnormally dangerous activity. Another kind of abnormally dangerous activity is radioactive waste or hazardous waste. Probably can hear my phone going off. Don't know why it's ringing. But I will turn it off. Thank you. Sorry about that. As you can tell, these kinds of activities are hazardous in and of themselves. Even if when you're doing your fireworks, you take all the possible care in the world and somebody is hurt by those fireworks, you're still liable. If you're blasting, for example, you're blasting some rocks out of a road that you're getting ready to build, and somebody gets hurt by a rock that's thrown up in the air and comes down and harms them, then you're liable, okay? Wild animals. If you're housing a lion in your basement, you're housing a wild animal that's abnormally dangerous. If that wild animal hurts somebody, then you're liable. And remember also, if it's a domesticated animal like a dog or a cat, and you know or should have known that that animal, even though domesticated, is potentially dangerous, then you might very well be liable under strict liability as well. Okay, folks, that's strict liability. Strict liability is liability without the fault of the defendant. If your activity causes harm, and it's the proximate cause of that harm, then you are liable. Okay, folks, that's strict liability. It's short and sweet, but remember, if you cause the harm and you're doing an abnormally dangerous or ultra-hazardous activity, and you cause the harm, then you're liable. Thanks a lot, and talk to you in a bit.